Hey everyone, we're back with Opendoor Technology. First, we're going to focus on the news, and then we're going to look at the charts. Let's go. First thing we're going to look at is Goldman Sachs and Opendoor have a relationship involving investment, advisory services, and conference presentations. Goldman Sachs owns a significant stake in Opendoor, has acted as a financial advisor for the company, and has hosted Opendoor executives at its technology conferences. The financial and advisory connection underscores a direct link with the two firms. That's huge. Goldman Sachs is a major shareholder, owning approximately 38.6 million shares, which represents roughly 5.1% stake in Opendoor. This investment was revealed through a regulatory filing. Advisory services, Goldman Sachs is serving as a financial advisor to Opendoor. Wow. And here's another one. Opendoor jumps as JP Morgan remains bullish on new leadership. Sets street high price target at $8. Monday afternoon, trading at JP Morgan sticks with overweight rating, citing its major transformation. That's what we're saying before. That's what we were saying before. It doesn't matter what Opendoor did in the past few quarters. What matters is what Opendoor is doing right now and in the future. And that's what they're looking at. What is Opendoor doing now, and how are they going to grow for the future? And what the institutions and hedge funds are seeing, they like what they see. They like it. That's why they're increasing their price target. And that's why they're investing in the company. A revenue of $850 million was expected for Opendoor, but we did $915 million. Still a 34% decline, but once again, was not worse than expected. I made videos before the earnings saying as long as the earnings is somewhat in line to what was expected, we would do okay. And I said if the earnings was much better than expected, it would squeeze. It wasn't much better than expected, but it was somewhat in line. So Opendoor is okay. Further helping lift shares, weak job data for October could mean the Federal Reserve cuts rates once again in December. Opendoor business directly benefits from lowered rate. 0.25 cut or 0.50 in December is going to make Opendoor go up even more. It could be getting priced in right now. And one funny note, reason why you can't listen to all these expert analysts, because right here, the company is operating at a loss and relies heavily on debt. I would avoid the stock unless you have a high risk tolerance. But a lot of these articles have been saying this forever. When Opendoor was $1, $2, they were saying avoid this stock. And if you listen, you missed out. So are we going to listen again? No. Use your own judgment. Look at the stock. Look at the company. See what they're doing. Look at the charts. Make your own decision. Forget about the rest saying what they think you should do. Do what you want to do. So let's look at Opendoor chart. I haven't looked at it since the last video I made, and wow, we're up $8.33. Last time I made a video, we were at I think $7.98 or $8.04. Now we're at $8.33 after hours. Some big things is going on. Don't care what nobody says. Something big is going on behind the scenes. Investors are buying Opendoor, insiders, institutions, Goldman Sachs. Somebody's getting in Opendoor big because, as I mentioned in Discord about a few minutes ago, Opendoor is going up on relatively low volume compared to before when we had a run up. Let's look at the run up before. Let's see how much volume that we were getting. Back when we were running up in August, we're talking about 322 million, 414 million. What else? 650 million to move up on a good day. Now we're talking about much less. Right here, we went from 524 to 659 with how much volume? 214 million, right? Right here, $6.69 to $8.12. Huge move. How much volume? 222 million. That's it. So we're moving up without the crazy retail jumping in, day trading it. These are big moves with much less volume, and that's always going to be a big plus. Now, when the volume increases, yeah, of course you're going to move up. But when you can move up on lower volume than usual, that's going to be huge. Because, you know, when you have a lot of volume, that means there's some selling in there as well. But since our volume is kind of low, a lot of this movement is going up based on pretty much all buys. No one's really selling in this area. And the MACD setup on Opendoor is still very, very nice. I mean, this is very nice, the MACD. This is on a daily too, on a daily. We're way down here on a MACD. Last time we had a run up on Opendoor, when we were right here on MACD, we were at $2.26 to $3. And we came up all the way from $3 to $10, and we were way up here. Now look where we're at on the MACD. We're back down here again, much lower than this area. Definitely much lower than this area. So we have a lot of room to move up on the MACD. We're talking about $10 plus, even $15 if we keep running and we keep getting positive news, interest rate cuts, possibly the administration helping out people buy houses, the 50-year mortgage loan. The list goes on and on, catalyst after catalyst. So we have a long way to go before we become overbought, right? RSI broke the 50 today. Now we're at 54. Anything over 50 looks good for the RSI. We're at 54 on the daily chart. Very amazing. We're nowhere near the overbought area, which is the 70. And last time we were at the 54 area before a run, we were at the dollar area, $1.95, $1.77. So we have a long way to go before we're overbought. And the 4-hour chart, we're not overbought yet, but we're getting there, almost getting the overbought area. Will it be a profit take soon? Maybe in a few days you could see a profit take, but it just depends. It just depends on the kind of news we get, since we are getting close to the overbought area on the 4-hour chart. So we'll see what happens there. But right now, Opendoor is still bullish, as you can see. After hours, $8.33. And this is how the after hours look. We just keep going up, riding that moving average. Bollinger Bands looking good. Moving average is looking good. Let's check out Lennar as well. LEN, stock ticker. Housing sector. Not the same type of company, but it is a housing sector. And Lennar also have 2 green candles going up. It went from 118 to 123. So as Opendoor is moving, Lennar is also moving as well. But, Opendoor is doing much, much better right now because we had a huge dip and now we're going back up again. Lennar is going up because of the good housing stock news. XHB, Home Builder ETF, is moving up slowly as well. Looks like it's starting to uptrend, 102. Now it's at 105, 106 areas. So housing stocks are starting to get back in business again, right? Especially Opendoor. It's looking real, real good. Now let's look at the support and resistance. A lot of people are wondering, where's the support? Where's the resistance? Because the last video I had, I put resistance at 815 and we broke it. We broke it one time, I think, while the market was open, and we broke it after hours, of course. So now let's look at the next resistance for Opendoor. So based on my chart I have here and my technicals, the first resistance is going to be right here at 860. And then the next one is going to be right here at 888. That's going to be a strong resistance because, as you can see before in the past, October 6th, every time we broke 888. If you watch my previous videos and you're subscribed to me back in early October, you remember that we had big problems at 888. I used to say it all the time. Every time we touch 888, we go back down. And as you can see, here it is right here. We touched 888 October 1st, couldn't make it. Touched 888 October 3rd, couldn't make it. We went above 888 on October 6th, and we stayed above it for a few days, 3 tries, and then we're out. We couldn't do it anymore, and we started a long downtrend from the 888 to $9.30 area. So 888 and 930 is going to be a crazy resistance for Opendoor. Those are going to be 2 resistance that we may struggle with. But if we can break 888 and 930, $10 is going to be imminent, definitely, because that's where we struggled at, 888 and 930. We did have some problems at $10, of course. That's where we started our downtrend. But when we try to go back up later on, after we went down to $10, we couldn't break that area, 888 to 930. So that is our goal. That is our mission, right? Break 888 and 930. Going to be a huge resistance area. And right now we're at 832. There's not really a resistance at 832. If anything, at 840. But it's not big. The big resistance is going to be at 888. And hopefully we'll see that test maybe this week. That would be great. Because the sooner we can test it, the higher the possibility that we can actually break it. All right. But yeah, everyone who's watching my videos, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Just don't forget to subscribe and like. The more subscriptions I get, the more likes I get, the more I will cover Opendoor. That's how I do my videos. I look at which videos get the most likes and subscriptions, and that's what I focus on. So if I keep getting likes, keep getting subscriptions, I'll cover Opendoor to $82 and higher, right? So thanks for watching. Let's hope for another great day for Opendoor Technology on Tuesday. Take care.